Once upon a time, in a lush and magical forest, there lived a small, cheerful gnome named Oliver. Oliver had a long, red hat, a twinkling smile, and a knack for helping his animal friends solve their problems. One bright morning, Oliver heard a loud announcement echoing through the forest. It was time for the annual forest race, and all the animals were excited to participate. A confident hare named Hazel, known for her speed, boasted she would win again. Out of the crowd stepped Tim, a slow but determined tortoise. He declared that he would also join the race. Hazel laughed and said, "You? A tortoise? You don't stand a chance." But Oliver cheered for Tim, believing in his courage. Oliver had a clever idea. He decided to help Tim by creating a secret shortcut in the forest that only Tim would know about. Oliver whispered his plan to Tim, who nodded gratefully. The race began with a loud whistle. Hazel the hare zoomed ahead, kicking up dust behind her. Tim, the tortoise, started slowly, step by step, while the crowd cheered and laughed at his slow pace. After running far ahead, Hazel grew overconfident. "I have plenty of time," she thought. She decided to take a nap under a shady oak tree, confident she would still win. Tim kept moving slowly but surely. He remembered Oliver's advice and took the secret path through the forest, which was covered with soft moss and had a cool breeze blowing through the trees. Hazel woke up and realized she had slept longer than she thought. She quickly sprang up and raced ahead, her heart pounding. She needed to catch up. Meanwhile, Tim reached a river that was part of the race route. Oliver had left a floating log for Tim to use. Tim carefully stepped onto the log and slowly crossed the river. Hazel, trying to catch up, took a different shortcut but ended up tangled in a patch of thorny bushes. She struggled to free herself, losing precious time. Tim moved steadily through a beautiful meadow filled with flowers. He kept his pace, never rushing, always determined. Hazel finally broke free from the bushes and darted through the forest at lightning speed, her eyes set on catching up with Tim. Tim reached the last stretch of the race, a steep hill. He slowly climbed, step by step, while Hazel gained on him from behind, moving like a gust of wind. Hazel was just behind Tim as they reached the top of the hill. She could already see the finish line down below and felt a surge of confidence. Oliver cheered loudly from the crowd. "Go, Tim! You can do it!" Tim, encouraged by Oliver's words, picked up his pace just a little bit. Hazel made one last dash, moving as fast as she could. She was so close to overtaking Tim, but he was already nearing the finish line. With a final step, Tim crossed the finish line just before Hazel. The forest erupted in cheers. Tim, the slow but steady tortoise, had won the race. Hazel realized that overconfidence had caused her to lose. She congratulated Tim and apologized for underestimating him. "Slow and steady wins the race," she admitted with a smile. Oliver organized a grand feast in the forest to celebrate Tim's victory. There was plenty of food, dancing, and laughter, and everyone enjoyed themselves under the twinkling stars. As the celebration ended, Oliver stood up and reminded everyone, "It's not about how fast you go, but how steady and determined you are." Everyone nodded in agreement, and they all knew they had learned a valuable lesson that day.